Hello! Welcome again to Math 20 video lecture series. So for this lesson, we are going to talk about the two-dimensional coordinate system. And here are our goals for this lecture. So number one, we want to show the correspondence between the points on the plane and the ordered pairs of real numbers. Second, obtain the distance and midpoint between 2 points. Number 3, associate the graphs and solutions of equations in two variables. Determine the x and y intercept of a graph. And finally, determine the slope of a line. So start na tayo. Let's have some review lang nung notations or nung sa sets na inaral natin. So when we say the Cartesian product A cross B, where A and B are sets, so ang laman nitong A cross B is the set of the ordered pairs A, B, where the first component are elements of A and the second components are elements of B. So, ordered pair. Importante yung order. So, dapat kapag ganito, A cross B, first component, manggagaling kay A, second component, manggagaling kay B. Magkaiba siya sa B cross A. B cross A ay B, A such that the first component manggagaling kay B, second component manggagaling kay A. So, parang ito, A cross B, where A is the set containing 0, 1, and B is W, X, Y, Z. So, dapat ang first components natin are 0, 1. As you can see, 0, 1, at ipapartner mo sa W, X, Y, Z. That's why we get this set. And sabi natin, ang set of real numbers is a set. So, pwede nating buuin yung R cross R, which means the set of ordered pairs X, Y, such that itong X and Y mo are real numbers. Kasi the first component is real, the second component is real. And we denote R cross R as R square. At ito na actually yung tinatawag nating two-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system. Actually, this two-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system gives you a one-to-one correspondence between R square and the points on the plane. So, in other words, kapag meron kang coordinate na XY, ordered pair XY, meron siyang kapartner na unique point sa plane. And vice versa, kapag meron ka namang unique point sa plane, meron din siyang sariling coordinates. May unique coordinate siya. Ito yung coordinates. Okay? XY coordinates. Or, may ordered pair na nagko-correspond doon sa point sa plane. At ganitong itsura ng two-dimensional coordinate system. So, we have this horizontal line, vertical line. Isipin nyo, these are two number lines lang na pinag-intersect doon sa mga zeros nila. The horizontal line, we call it the x-axis. And the vertical line, we call it the y-axis. And yung nasa gitna, that is 0, 0, or ang tawag natin doon is the origin. Tapos, paano ka nagpa-plot ng points dito sa Cartesian plane? Or paano mo nire-represent as a point yung mga ordered pair XY? So, kunyari, this is your ordered pair XY. Ang first component is X, ang second component is Y. So, dapat, pag pinroject mo siya sa X-axis, X yung number doon, sa Y-axis, Y yung lalabas doon. Okay? Or pwede mong isipin na, ang tawag dito, this X is the distance of your point from your Y-axis, kasi this is X, and yung Y is the distance of your point from the X-axis because this is, ang length nito is Y. Okay, let us plot the point 1, 2. So, hanapin sa x-axis ang 1. Let's say, this is 1. And this is 2. So, this is Q. How about, let's say, P, negative 1, negative 2. So, hanapin si negative 1 sa x. Hanapin si negative 2 sa y. So this point is P. Okay, so nagets ba yun? Huwag na tayo masyadong mag-dwell into that. So, and if you have the two-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system, or yung XY axis mo, the XY plane, the Cartesian plane, the plane is divided into 4 parts. And we call this one quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, this is quadrant 4. In quadrant 1, the x and y coordinates are positive. In quadrant 2, x coordinate is negative, y coordinate is positive. In quadrant 3, both x and y are negative. The x and y coordinates are negative. And in quadrant 4, the x coordinate is positive and the y coordinate is negative. So, para matandaan ninyo yung arrangement ng quadrant 1, 2, 3, tandaan nyo letter C. Tapos 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay ba yon? So, punta na tayo sa susunod. So, punta naman tayo sa distance between 2 points. Isa ito sa mga nandun sa goals natin. Let's say you have 2 points, P and Q. Ang coordinates ni P is x1, y1, and Q is x2, y2. So, ang tanong, what is the distance between them? Or the length of this line segment connecting P and Q. So, ang gagawin natin, magdodrawing tayo ng right triangle. At itong distansyang to, this is the difference in the y values. Let's get the absolute value para walang mga negative, no? At ito naman, the difference in x, which is absolute value ni x2 minus x1, may absolute value para lang hindi mag-negative. Para distance yung nire-represent nila. And by the Pythagorean theorem, d square is equal to x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Tapos, 'di ba may lesson tayo before nung solve tayo ng absolute value. Ang absolute value ni a square is a square for any real number a. So, ibig sabihin, pag nagsisquare ka na may absolute value, pwede mo na lang alisin yung absolute value. So, d square is equal to x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. And then, get the square root of both sides. x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Non-negative ang distance, kaya ang kinuha natin yung positive square root dito. Okay, so let us do one example. Lagi naman tayo nag-example to illustrate the formula. So, lilista ko lang yung formula ulit ha. So, d is the square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So, find the distance between these 2 points. So, mag-assign ka lang ng x1, y1, x2, y2. So, you can have that assignment. Or, pwedeng ito si x2, y2, ito si x1, y1. You will still get the same answer. Pero gawin na lang natin yung naka-black kasi mas intuitive siya. For me, kasi ang nauna, x1, y1, pangalawa, x2, y2. Okay, so, the distance is equal to the square root of x2 is 5, x1 is 2, ang y2 ay negative 4, ang y1 ay 3. Anong makukuha natin? 3 square plus negative 7 square, which is square root of 9 plus 49, or square root of 58. So, yan yung distansya nilang dalawa. So, punta naman tayo dun sa next goal natin, which is the midpoint of a line segment. So, andito ulit ang ating P and Q. This is P and this is Q. So, ano daw yung point sa gitna nila? Ibig sabihin ng midpoint, connect the line segment and get the point in between them which is equidistant from the two endpoints. So, yun yung midpoint. So, ang formula lang daw, so, midpoint is a point, so meron siyang x-coordinate, y-coordinate. So, x-coordinate niya is the average of the x-coordinates of the endpoints, and the y-coordinate is the average of the y-coordinates of the endpoints. That's why we have this formula. Of course, apply natin siya to illustrate the formula. So, find the midpoint of this line segment from A to B. So, let's name this one as x1, y1, x2, y2. Hindi rin nagmamatter kung sino si x1, y1 at x2, y2. So, ang midpoint, sulat natin ang formula. Average ng x, average ng y. So, anong lalabas? 5 plus 2 over 2, comma, negative 4 plus 3 over 2, or 7 over 2, comma, negative 1 over 2. So, yan yung midpoint. So, ayan, na-accomplish na natin yung dalawang goals natin. Ano yung Cartesian coordinate system and distance formula, midpoint formula. So, punta tayo doon sa next. So, mag-graph tayo ng equations into variables. Okay, so these are some examples of equations in xy. You have an equation, tapos may mga xy ka doon sa equation. And, ano ibig sabihin ng solution ng equation? Ordered pairs of values for x and y that satisfy an equation in x and y are called solution to the equation. So, let's take for example this point. This point, ano bang maganda? 1, 3 is a solution of 4x plus 5 equal to 3y. Bakit siya solution? Kasi pag pinlagin mo yung x and y dito, masasatisfy niya yung equation. So, because 4 times 1 plus 5 equal to 3 times y is true. So, ito yung x natin, ito yung y. So, nasatisfy niya yung equation. Okay? So, pag kinolekta mo lahat ng coordinates na yun, lahat ng points na yun, lahat ng ordered pairs na yun, yun na yung tinatawag nating solution set. So, the set of solutions of the equation is the solution set. Etong is not a solution. 0, 0. Bakit siya hindi solution? Because pag sinubstitute mo yung 0 sa 5, yung 0 sa x, tsaka yung 0 sa y, hindi sila mag-i-equal. Okay ba yun? And kapag binigyan ka ng equation in two variables, pag nag-specify ka ng value ng x, may masosolve kang y. And vice versa, kapag nag-specify ka ng value ng y, may makocompute kang x, diba? So, ito yung way ng pag-generate ng solutions xy. At yung mga solutions na to, mga points ito sa Cartesian plane. Kapag inipon mo lahat ng mga points, pag pinag-connect the dots mo yon, so sobrang dami nun, collect mo silang lahat, you will get the graph of the equation. The graph of an equation in xy is the set of all points in the Cartesian plane whose coordinates satisfy the equation. So, mas maganda yan na magbibigay tayo ng example. So, kunyari, y equal to x squared minus 1. So, let us sketch the graph of that by plotting points on this curve. Okay? So, or on the graph of this. So, inunahan niya na nga tayo. When x is negative 2, y is 3. That's why the point negative 2, negative 3 is on the graph of this equation, ginraph niya na. So, mag-plot pa tayo ng ibang points. Let's say, when x is negative 1, what is y? So, you get 0. So, the point negative 1, 0 is on the graph. And when x is 0, what is y? This is 0. So, 0 minus 1 is 1. So, 0, 1 is on the graph. Asan si 0, 1 yan? And when x is 1, y is 0. So, si 1, 0 nasa graph din. Ay. And when x is 2, ano ang y mo? 3. So, 2, 3 ay nasa graph din. At pag kinonect mo yung mga points na yan, you will get something like this. So, para maging mas accurate yung graph mo, magpa-plot ka lang ng magpa-plot ng maraming points, tapos connect the dots lang. So, ganyan yung gagawin natin sa lahat. Okay, so next naman, we have the square root of x. Favorite ito sa Math 20. Hindi mo favorite, pero lalabas siya sa Math 21. So, let's say when x is 0, what is y? Y is 0. So, the point 0, 0 is on the graph of y equal to square root of x. Yung naka-blue. When x is 1, y is also 1. Pinlog in natin x is equal to 1, y is square root of 1, which is 1. So, nasan yung 1, 1? So, balik ka mag-plug in ng mga points, pero pa-plug in ko na yung 4. Para kasi sakto. So, y equal to square root of 4 or 2. So, 4, 2 nandoon sa graph. Okay. Pero pwede mo na ma-plug in yung mga points na iba na nandun sa itong mga points na ito. Okay. Pinili ko lang yung 4 para lang sakto yung square root. Madali i-graph. Let's say when x is 9, y is 3. So, 9, 3 nandoon sa graph din. So, this point, and that point. So, pag kinonect the dots mo yan, yung black curve na yan, yan yung graph nung square root of x. And last na sa point plotting. Start tayo sa negative 2. When x is negative 2, what is y? So, y is negative 2 cube minus negative 2 square. Negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. So, the point negative 2, negative 12 is on the graph. Nasaan na yun? So, this is negative 2, negative 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, ito yung point na yan. I-blue natin. And when x is negative 1, what is y? Y is negative 1 minus 1, that is negative 2. So, the point negative 1, negative 2 is on the graph. Ayan siya, color blue. Try naman natin si 0. When x is 0, y is 0. So, the point 0, 0 is on the graph. Tapos, when x is 1, ano yung y natin? 1 minus 1, 0. So, the point 1, 0 is on the graph. When x is 2, ang lalabas? 8 minus 4, you get 4. So, 2, 4. Actually, pag nag-ipon ka pa ng ibang points, nag-plot ka pa ng ibang points, ang mapoproduce mo, something like this. Itong black na ginagawa ko. So, kailangan mo ng maraming points para malaman mo na may something dito. Okay? At tuturuan naman kayo sa Math 21 how to graph yung mga functions na ganyan. So, punta tayo sa X and Y intercept. So, malamang narinig nyo na to noong high school. So, re-reviewin natin siya. So, for a given graph, the x-intercepts are the x-coordinates of the points of intersection with the x-axis. Y-intercepts are the y-coordinates of the points of the intersection with the y-axis. So, kunyari, we have this graph. Kunyari, yung graph natin ganyan. Kunyari, yung graph natin something like that, no? Value dito, -3, -4, 1, 5. So, the x-intercepts are the x-coordinates of the points of intersection with the x-axis. So, ito yun. So, -3, 1, 5. Yan yung mga x-intercept. And the y-intercept, actually, pwedeng maraming y-intercept depende dun sa itsura ng graph. In this case, -4. Okay? And how do you solve for the x-intercepts and the y-intercept? If you want to solve for the x-intercept, so those are the x values when y is 0. Diba pag nandito ka, ang mga y values dito ng mga points ay 0. That's why para makompute ang x-intercept, set y to 0, solve for x. At for the y-intercept, mga nandito, the x-coordinates are 0. You set x to 0 and then solve for y. So, yun yung mga y-intercepts. So, let us illustrate yung mga pinagagawa natin, pinagde-define natin. So, from here, halata naman na the x-intercepts are -1 and 1 based on the graph. And the y-intercept is -1. So, the x-intercept, kailangan makuha natin yung mga sagot na yan gamit yung method. So, set y to 0. Anong lalabas? 0 equal to x squared minus 1. So, x squared is 1. So, x is plus minus 1. Plus minus 1, -1, 1. Yun yung x-intercept. And for the y-intercept, set x to 0. Ano yung makukuha nating y? 0 squared minus 1 or -1. So, y -1 is the y-intercept. So, another example, yung ginraph natin kanina, ito yon. So, let us solve for the x and y-intercept. So, set y to 0. So, magiging x cubed minus x equal to 0. Factor out x. We get x squared minus 1. Factor out x squared, I mean. Kakaroon tayo na x minus 1 equal to 0. Equate each factor to 0. So, x is 0 and x is 1. So, ang x-intercepts mo raw, 0 and 1. And true enough, x is equal to 0, x equal to 1. Pwede mo rin isipin actually itong point na to as y-intercept din siya. So, set x to 0, ang lalabas, 0. So, ang y-intercept mo is 0. Okay, ito naman. Ito wala to sa example natin kanina. We will verify our answer dito sa example na to using a graphing utility. So, let us determine the x and y-intercept. So, for the x-intercept, set y to 0. Anong lalabas? So, 0 ito, no? So, cross-multiply, 4x squared plus 9 is 0. Lalabas na 4x squared equal to -9 or x squared is -9/4. Kaso, ang mga values ng x natin dito reals. Ang x-intercept ay real. So, in-square mo, naging negative. So, no real x will satisfy this one. So, ibig sabihin, wala kang x-intercept pag ganyan ang nangyari. For the y-intercept, set x to 0. So, y is equal to 0 na to, 0 na to, 9 over -9, which is -1. So, i-expect nyo, pag ginraph ito, hindi siya tatama sa x-axis. Sa y-axis, tatama siya sa -1. So, gagamit tayo ng graphing utility for that. Nasaan na ang GeoGebra natin? So, ito yung pang-graph ko kasi ito lang yung meron ako. At libre siya. So, let us sketch the graph of y. 4x squared plus 9 divided by x squared minus 9. And as you can see, wala siyang x-intercept. Hindi siya tumatama sa x-axis. At sa y-axis, saan siya tumatama? Sa -1. Let us proceed. So, punta naman tayo sa equations ng lines. Actually, slope ng line ang goal natin dito. But whenever you see an equation of the form ax plus by equal to c, or pwede mong isulat in that form, where a and b are not simultaneously 0, is a line. So, for example, this one, this is an equation of a line. Pag ginraph mo sa Cartesian plane yan, you will get a line. So, paano may gagraph? You can actually get 2 points on the line and then connect the 2 points. Yun na yung graph ng line. So, let's say, when x is 0, ano yung y mo? Pwedeng mga intercepts lang. So, yung point mo, 0, -1 is on the line. And if y is, sige na nga, y is 0, anong x mo? X is 1/2. So, 1/2, 0. So, pag ginraph mo yan, any 2 points will do. Pinili ko lang yung x and y intercepts para mas madaling makita. This is the y-intercept, -1. So, let's say this is -1. And the x-intercept is 1/2. So, let's say this is 1 unit. This is 1/2 unit. O, tapos, connect the dots. So, itong blue line, yan ang graph nung 2x minus y equal to 1. Gusto nyo pa ba i-check using a graphing utility? 2x minus y equal to 1. Okay? And as you can see, nagtutugma yung graph. Tatama sa y-axis at -1. Tatama sa x-axis at 1/2 or 0.5. Okay? So, ito yung observe nyo. Parehas siyang tumatama doon. So, sabi natin, 2 points determine a unique line. Connect the 2 points, yun yung unique line. And now, i-define naman natin kung gaano ka-steep ang line or kung gaano siya katarik. So, the slope of a line is a degree of steepness of a line. The slope of the line passing through the points x1, y1, and x2, y2 is this one. So, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Para mag-exist yung slope provided that x1 is not equal to x2. So, kapag equal yung mga x-coordinates, tapos meron kang line, vertical line yon. So, kapag vertical line ka, the slope is said to be undefined. Hindi siya dinedefine. And horizontal lines, ang slope mo ay 0. Kasi sa horizontal lines, pareha yung mga y-coordinate. So, yung numerator mo, magzi-0 yon. 0 divided by non-zero is 0. So, tatandaan, vertical, undefined, horizontal, 0. Yun yung mga slopes nila. At eto, some observations lang. If your line has a positive slope, ang itsura ng line mo, pag ganun siya, something pataas siya. And if the slope is negative, pag ganyan siya. So, parang apat yung itsura na possible nung sa lines, no? Zero slope, horizontal, undefined slope, vertical, positive slope, pag ganyan, negative slope, pag ganyan. And finally, let us get the slope of the line passing through these points. So, ganun lang. So, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so ang m natin ay y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Ano yung y2? Negative 1 over, minus 3 divided by 4 minus 2 or negative 4 over 2 which is negative 2. Hindi mag-change yung answer pag pinagpalit mo yung x1, y1 and x2, y2. Let's say this is x2, y2. This is x1, y1. You still get the same slope. Hindi nagmamatter sino yung x1, y1, x2, y2. So, plug in natin. y2 is 3. y1 is negative 1. x2 is 2. x1 is 4. So, you get 4 over negative 2 which is negative 2. And that ends our lecture on the two-dimensional coordinate system. Sa next video, we're going to talk more about lines and circles. Stay safe and goodbye.